Today's paid video sponsors are by American Crew, some of the best hair products out in the industry today. I will demonstrate how I utilize a few of their products throughout this tutorial, so sit back and stay tuned. What's going on, Fade Culture? It's Sergio Barron and we're back again with another tutorial. Today I'm going to run you down my step-by-step process on doing a skin fade with a textured top. I'm also going to show you how to finish and stylize a haircut like this using our today's sponsored products by American Crew. So I hope y'all guys enjoy this tutorial and let's jump right into it. So to begin this tutorial, I will utilize my Prep and Prime tonic to prep and comb the hair prior to doing my shear work. This product is perfect as opposed to using just water, just because this product adds a light hold and texture for increased control and manageability while you're doing your scissor cutting. So once the hair is fully saturated, I will begin by parting out my profile section. And so this profile section will be to determine the length and the shape that we will be cutting onto his hair. You'll notice that because of the hold that this Prep and Prime hairspray has, you'll be able to pull out a lot cleaner sections throughout this whole process. For this haircut, I wanted to give him a square shape up top, so I picked up my fingers horizontally straight and I just cut a straight line all the way leading towards the back. Remember to always check in with your client to always determine exactly how much they want trimmed off the top. It's never a good idea to assume what you think they might want. So once the desired length has been trimmed away, I will proceed by combing all of the hair forward and then start by matching up the rest of the hair with that profile section down the middle. Since the front we didn't really cut out in the beginning too much, you won't see that much trimming, but as you see, as we pull back more towards the back, you'll see that we'll start to have to even out the sides onto the middle part of our sectioning. And you will repeat this process until you get to the back crown area of his head. And once you do, you'll just proceed with starting again from the front left side, working your way all the way to the back, and then as well as starting from the front right side, and as well same way working your way up a small section at a time until you get to the back and making sure all the whole top is cut evenly. Next, I will completely blow dry the hair completely dry so we can go ahead and add in some texture. For the texture, I will just grab a section at a time, working my way up towards the back and just adding these small peaks and valleys to the top of his hair, making sure that we don't cut any more length. Again, just adding these little small peaks and valleys onto the hair so that we create movement and resulting in a textured finish up top. And remember guys, to really bring out the hair texture in this haircut, you'll want to use some sort of texturizing powder or some sort of clay with a matte finish to really accentuate the style and look that we're going for. I'll show you on the end what I'm talking about. And now to set in my first guideline, I will start with the clipper lever closed, and I will set it right here starting at the temple peak area of his forehead, and I will make sure it leads down as I reach the back, and then I'll just make sure that we end up in the same position from the one we started at on the opposite side. Make sure this first guideline is as even as possible throughout his head before moving on to the next. So just kind of take a step back, look at the back side as well as the front side, and just make sure they're as even as possible, since the rest of our guidelines are going to run parallel to this first initial one. Next, I will open the lever all the way and set in my next guideline, coming up about a ½ inch in length. And like I said before, I'm gonna just make sure this second guideline runs parallel to that first initial guideline that we laid down. Next, I will grab my number 1 guard, still leaving that lever open to lay down my next guideline, coming up about another ½ inch from the previous guideline that we set. And again guys, we're just gonna make sure that it runs parallel to that previous one until we reach the opposite side. Also guys, again, I will leave all these steps down in the description for y'all to check out in written format, as well as I will be leaving the tools and all the products that I use as well linked down in the description. So moving forward, I will grab the number 2 guard, still with that lever open, and I will lay down my next guideline, coming up about another ½ inch up high. By the time you get to this guard, be really careful not to dig in too much into the top hair, since we're already reaching that part where the head starts to kind of round out. So when you're laying down this guideline, be sure to kind of ease off on the clipper pressure as you reach that parietal ridge or that curvature of his head, and kind of just exit out, pulling up like kind of in a vertical manner. So once you're done with that, you will grab your number 3 guard, still with your lever open, and basically here what we're gonna do is just try to connect the side length to the top length of his hair. So again guys, the same way as before, try not to dig in too much onto the top length of his head, and kind of just emphasize more on that C scoop motion so that you're not cutting any of the length up top. And so once you're done with this step, you'll want to just brush away all the loose hair that you cut already so that you can clearly see your 3 guidelines that we left. We'll start by taking out the uppermost guideline first and work our way down to the first bottom one. For the top one, I will use the 1.5 clip and keep that lever open to that 3rd quarter position. And all that is that lever open all the way, and all I did was close it a tad bit. And then I just came in with the clipper using kind of more so the corners of them, and just blending out that top guideline in a detailed manner until we get it blended out as smooth as possible. And again guys, be sure you're always brushing away the hair so you can clearly see where you're going and you don't lose track of that guideline that you're blending out. And so once you have blended out that top guideline as much as possible, I will move forward by blending out the middle guideline. For that one, I will use the 1/2 clip, still leaving that lever on that 3rd quarter position. And again, just kind of coming in and taking it out in a detailed manner using the corners of the clipper. Keep in mind that this guard won't completely take out this middle guideline. So don't try and chase that guideline up higher and higher, resulting in a high fade. So just kind of focus on just blending out the initial start of the guideline. And right now we'll come back in with the number 1 guard and finish taking it out completely. So as you see here, we're left with still a little bit of a dark ridge that I was talking about. So I'm gonna grab the number 1 guard and I'm gonna still leave that lever open on that 3rd quarter position and just proceed to finish blending out that middle guideline completely. And guys, if you feel like you need to open or close that lever a little bit here and there, then go ahead and do so. Get comfortable using that lever, since lever play is really essential when it comes to taking out these guidelines. So for instance, if you kind of feel like that lever position isn't really blending out that dark spot that you're trying to work on, then go ahead and close that lever a little bit at a time until you actually see that it's blending out that dark spot completely. And last, we're left with our last guideline to blend out. I will utilize 3 lever positions for this last guideline. Clipper lever closed, then open halfway, and then open all the way to completely take out that guideline. So here as you see, I will start with the clipper lever closed and just kind of start blending out the initial start of that guideline. And then I will open it midway and work up a little bit higher into that guideline. And then I will just open the clipper lever all the way and finish blending in that guideline completely. For this last line, you'll notice that I just focus on taking it out on the left side first, and then I'll work my way off to the back side and then to the right side. So again guys, here I start again with that clipper lever closed to start blending out the initial start of that guideline. And then I open it halfway, move my way up a little bit higher, and then again after that I will just open it all the way to finish tying in that last guideline into the fade. And then once you're done with the back, you'll proceed by doing the exact same steps on the right side to finish taking out that line completely. And once I'm done with that, I'll begin my touch-up work. For this particular cut, I used the half clip on that 3rd quarter position. And all I did for my touch-up work is kind of just looked for any inconsistencies in the fade or any dark spots in the haircut, and just in a detailed manner just pick them right out. All you're doing is creating that even balance in the fade throughout the whole haircut. And now moving forward to taking out the rest of the hair underneath. First I came in with my trimmers upside down, since this does leave a border guideline. And then that little faint line that it leaves behind, I just flipped my clipper back right side up and just took it right out. The reason that I use it upside down at first is since it does leave a border line on the scalp. When we come back and take out the rest of the bottom of the hair underneath, you'll notice that we leave a little faint line, and that's going to serve as a guideline to show us how high to come up with our electric shaver. And before I took out the rest of the hair, I just kind of came in and added a little line just to kind of offset the haircut and give it a little bit of a design. So next we'll just follow through by taking out the rest of the hair underneath. It's kind of hard to catch on camera, but in person you'll be able to notice that little faint line that I was talking about earlier. And that line is, again guys, going to be our guideline to show us where to stop with our electric shaver, so that we don't come up and create any hard lines into the fade. So again guys, when you're using the electric shaver, I use it in the same manner that I use my clippers. So as soon as I reach that little faint line that I left behind, I kind of just release pressure and kind of emphasize in using a C-scoop motion, so that we don't go too high into the fade. And next I'm gonna just start his front line up. I like to start down the middle of his hairline at first, and then I'll work my way off to the right side, creating that 90-degree box on the corner. And then I'll proceed with doing the exact same thing, moving to the opposite side, trying to make that front line up as straight as possible throughout the whole front. And be careful to just kind of let the trimmers do the work and not apply so much pressure on the front lineup, especially if you have your trimmer zero gap, because you will cause irritation and you'll leave like red lines or sometimes even cuts on the skin. Then before using my straight razor, I always apply some sort of shaving gel so that we don't cause any skin irritation. With my opposite hand, I'll tug on the skin just to create that tension and help that blade glide a lot more with ease. And I always start by just kind of shaving down first most of the hair, and then I will start by detailing and shaving up onto the lineup. And then I always kind of reverse shave just so that we get as close to the skin as possible, resulting in a longer shave. Then I will just use a little bit of enhancements just to help that hairline pop a little harder. And now to really bring out this haircut, I will start by using American Crew's Boost Powder. This anti-gravity volume powder with a matte finish gives the hair a lift and adds grit for a dramatic, heavy, defined texture. So I will just sprinkle it all over the top of his hair and kind of just really work it into the root. That way we can maximize the most volume. And if you really like that dry look, you can leave it as is, or we can layer on some American Crew matte clay formula that really provides a medium hold with a silky matte finish. So you'll just grab about a dime size and really work it onto his hair until you find that desired finish that you're looking for. But that pretty much wraps it up, guys, for this haircut on a skin fade with a textured top. Here's the before and here's the after. I hope y'all guys were able to learn something from this video. If y'all did, please give me a thumbs up, and also let me know down in the comments what y'all did or didn't like about the tutorial. Also, make sure y'all are subscribed to the channel so y'all don't miss out on all the videos that we drop. Again, guys, my name is Sergio Barron. This is Faded Culture, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. Peace.